What up YouTube, T-Movies here. Now I just made a video of my 10 favorite workplace features, but there are also workplace TV shows as well. So I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite workplace shows, because there's some pretty solid ones out there. So with that being said, here's my list. Number 10, I'm going to add this sitcom Tired Alice, which stars Linda Levin, who portrays the role of Alice Hayat, who is this aspiring singer who arrives in Phoenix with her teenage son, Tommy, who was portrayed by Philip McKenna, who's tragically passed away recent. And so, like, you know, after the the death of her truck driver husband, Alice ends up being hired at this diner owned by Mel Serpels, who's this great voice male fry cook. So the whole series really takes place during it, like in a diner and all. Alice is not really a show that really holds up, to be honest, but I still always got kicked out of it. I've seen a couple of episodes, like a couple of reruns on TV once in a while. Alice is a pretty funny show. Linda Levin portrays Alice really well. You got some interesting colorful cast of characters. If you guys never really seen Alice, I'd say give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, you got a few other cool characters, like other waitresses, like the redhead Flo, the character Vera. You got some interesting cast members that was featured, some interesting characters. I mean, definitely go check out Alice out if you guys never seen that. All right, number 9, I'm gonna add. All right. Coming in at number 9, I'm gonna add Ally McBeal. Now, this is a show that starred that featured Calista Flockhart as the entire role of Ally McBeal, who, of course, this is a legal-based show, and it takes place in the world of lawyers and all that. It takes place during a courtroom, so it's a workplace series. And Ally McBeal was a pretty solid show. I mean, Calista Flockhart, who, by the way, in fact, she is married to Harrison Ford, so there's that. And she, of course, is best known for portraying Cat Grant on Supergirl. I thought she was pretty good. You also have a few interesting guest appearances, like Robert Downey Jr. had a guest appearance on Ally McBeal once. Had a few other actors who had guest spots. Ally McBeal, I thought, was a pretty interesting show. It's not really a comedy, but it did have a couple of comedic moments at times. It did score a couple of Emmy nominations. I believe Calista Flockhart won one. I got to check that. But yeah, it'll be down to see some sort of revival of Ally McBeal. It'll be interesting to see where Ally McBeal has been going, where she's been, all these years. I mean, Calista Flockhart is no longer Cat Grant on Supergirl anymore, so she definitely has enough time to revive the character. Alright. Coming in at number 8, I'm going to add Superstore. Now, this is, of course, a workplace comedy that takes place in a Walmart, grocery store, and it features some interesting cast of characters. Like, you got America Ferrera, who portrays the employee Amy, and you got she ends up spinning with one of the other workers, Jonah, who I think is a pretty cool character. The boss here is portrayed by Glenn, who I think Glenn is really hilarious on the show. You also got other characters like Mateo, Cheyenne. You got some interesting cast of characters that are featured on the show. It is a show that's on NBC, and I guess you could say it's like The Office, but if it took place in a grocery store. Shows how shows like this actually make me wouldn't mind working inside a grocery store. Like Superstore, granted it's not Walmart, it's Cloud9. It's a store, like a fictional store named Cloud9, but still, it's a pretty cool show. I wouldn't mind shopping that grocery store. That store seems like a pretty cool place to shop in. But yeah, I think all the characters, all the cast of characters, all have good chemistry with one another. of course, the next episode, American Fur is leaving, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the show's gonna do without the Amy character. But that aside, if you guys haven't really seen Superstore yet, I'll say give it a shot. It's a really funny show. Number 7, I'm going to add Murphy Brown. Now, this is a show that takes place during the world of news and entertainment. It takes place during a news station, and it stars Kenneth Berg, who portrays the role of Murphy Brown, who's of course this middle-aged reporter who works for FYI News Network, and she's also trying to raise her her children in this, and she also has some interesting co-workers here too, her friends and co-workers includes Corky Sherwood, played by Faith Ford, Frank Fontana, played by Joe Regabuto, Jim Dial, played by Charles Cambaro, and Miles Silverberg, portrayed by Grant Saad. And this, of course, got premiered in the 80s, 1988. But then, 30 years after, they ended up rebooting it for CBS, which only lasted for one season. Which I really quite like the reboot of Murphy Brown. I mean, yeah, they got very political when it came to the revival, because of course, when the original Murphy Brown first premiered, news was there was obviously news and all that, but there was much fake news and all that stuff there wasn't much news as there was today. News reporting was very different back in the day. So yeah, but anyway. If you guys haven't really seen the original Murphy Brown, or even the revival, I'd say give it a shot. Candice Bergen as Murphy Brown is a really cool character right there. So, yeah, definitely go check out Murphy Brown if you guys haven't seen that. Number 6, I'm going to add News Radio. Now, this is a sitcom that takes place in a news radio station in New York City. And tragically, the show did once star Phil Hartman, who of course is best known for SNL fame. Tragically, he passed away in 1998, so they ended up killing off the Phil Hartman character, and they ended up replacing it with John Lovitz. Interesting character, interesting actor to replace him. I like John Lovitz, but still. Anyway, and you had tragically Phil Hartman passed away because he got shot, which is a real tragic tale, to be honest. Yeah, I always liked Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman was hilarious. Whether you talk about news radio or Jingle All the Way, The Simpsons, Phil Hartman could do no wrong. He was the man. His life was cut way too soon. But he did have a few other interesting cast members, you had Candy Alexander, who portrays the character Catherine Duke. You also had Dave Foley, who plays the news director Dave Nelson. Andy Dick was in this as the hapless reporter here. You also had Mara Turney. Before he had a podcast and before he was a host on Fear Factor, Joe Rogan starred on the show. So, yeah, if you want to see what Joe Rogan's been up to before he hosted a podcast and news radio, is where it's pretty much what got his big break. You also had Stephen Root, who's of course best known for Office Space fame. Vicki Lewis was in this. If you guys never really seen news radio, it's a really hilarious one. I guess this is the show that really got Joe Rogan wanting to do podcasts and all that. And I thought the cast of characters in this were all really great. So definitely go check out News Radio. And R.I.P. Phil Hartman. Years later, you're still best buddy. Number 5, I'm going to add Scrubs. Now, this is a TV show that takes place during a hospital, and it is a comedy that takes place during inside a hospital, and it stars Zach Braff, who is really hilarious as this doctor named John J.D. Doran. You also had Don Faison was also in this. You also had Sarah Cookshaw. Judy Reyes. You also had John C. McKinney, best known for Office Space fame. Dave Franco was even on the show. Scrubs had some really fun episodes in it. Whoever knew that a comedy about doctors could work out well? It works out well. I mean, it was during this pandemic. Zach Braff and Don Faison had a bit of a reunion online. I thought that was pretty cool to watch. They should definitely see about doing some sort of revival of Scrubs. It'll be cool seeing what these characters been up to and all. I mean, yeah, if you guys haven't really seen Scrubs by now, give it a shot. It's a really hilarious show. Alright, number 4, I'm going to add the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Now, this is a feminist based show. Of course, this premiered back in the 70s. And, Mary Tyler Moore, I guess, if it wasn't for folks like Lucy Moore, Mary Tyler Moore, we wouldn't have female comedians as we got now. We wouldn't have Melissa McCartney, we wouldn't have Kristen Wiig, Tina Fey. Females like Mary Tyler Moore, Carol Burnett, and Lucy Moore really paved the way for female comics we have today. And here you got Mary Tyler Moore, who portrays portrays well Mary Tyler Moore in this. Actually her name is Mary Richards, but who's this dirty something woman who ends up selling in Minnesota after breaking up with her boyfriend, and she ends up landing a job as an associate producer of this evening for this evening news WJM TV, which happens also to be the era's lowest running station. You got Ed Asner, who portrays her boss in this, who I thought Ed Asner was great. You also had sorry about that. You also had a few other good cast members, you had Betty White was in this. You had the likes of Gavin McLeod, best known for the Love Boat fame. You had Georgie Engel, who was hilarious in this. Ted Knight, Valerie Harper. Some really interesting group of cast members. I mean, Mary Tyler Moore, she was a comedy legend right there. And this was definitely a comic classic. It premiered in the 70s. Yeah, I believe it's the 70s or 60s, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a show that still holds up today. I mean, this... if you guys never really seen the Mary Tyler Moore Show, definitely go check it out. I mean, it also had a pretty good theme song as well. Number 2, I'm going to add Taxi. Now, this is a comedy show that takes place during... that pretty much is about the lives of a group of cabbies in New York City. And you got the likes of Judd Hirsch, who pretty much plays the core of the company delusion character, Alex, who's pretty much sure that he will be driving a cab for the rest of his life, and he wants to and he wouldn't mind getting out of business once in a while. You got a few other good cast members, you had the late great Andy Kaufman, who portrays the mechanic Lataka Gura in this. You also had Danny DeVito, Tony Danza was in this, Jeff Conway, Carol Kane. Taxi, obviously if Taxi premiered today, it'll obviously be titled Uber, because Uber is mainly the pop of things now. But the original Taxi, the Taxi sitcom is a classic. I don't know if it still holds up as it does today, but they do want to watch reruns, and I mean, come on, it was of course the show that would end up putting Danny DeVito on the map and Tony Danza on the map. And yeah, I mean, if you guys never really seen the Taxi sitcom, definitely give that one a shot. Alright, number 2, I'm going to add the sitcom classic Cheers. Now, of course, this is the workplace comedy that takes place inside a bar. And it's, of course, takes place in a world where everybody knows her name. Come on, who does not know that song? And you got Ted Danson, who portrays the character Sam Malone, who's a former relief pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. And he owns and runs the Cheers, which is a cozy bar in this beautiful, intelligent city. You got a few cool, interesting, colorful characters. You got this waitress played by Shelley Long, who of course ended up getting replaced by Chrissy Alley, I believe. You also had the likes of You also had Rhea Perlman was in this. Judd Wynn as the character of Norm, who's always hilarious. Woody Harrelson was on the show. I mean, Cheers is a comedy classic. You know, it premiered I believe it premiered on NBC if I'm not mistaken. You know, it premiered from the 80s all the way to early 90s. It's a comedy show that still holds up. Probably one of the most iconic theme songs, like theme music that was ever shown. I mean, who did not love that theme song? Anyway, if you guys never really see Cheers, it's a comedy classic right there. Of course, Ted Danson would later on to star on the show Good Place and lots of other stuff. Who just does not love Ted Danson? He is the man. It'll be cool seeing some sort of revival of Cheers. Like, I always want to see some sort of like a new take on Cheers. That will be sweet to watch. And speaking of, to change the subject, it was pretty cool to see a Cheers reunion on the Goldbergs last year. That was pretty cool to watch. Anyway, my number one favorite workplace TV show of all time obviously goes to The Office. Of course, the show premiered on NBC, starring Steve Carell as pretty much as the world's best boss, Michael Scott. You got some interesting characters like Dwight. You got Pam and Jim. You got some interesting cast members in this, like you got Steve Carell, John Krasinski, Rainn Wilson, Craig Robinson. Ed Helms ended up replacing Steve Carell, which a lot of people did not like it when Ed Helms replaced Carell. I didn't mind Ed Helms when he appeared on The Office, but that's just me. Anyway, also you had Ellie Kemper was on this. The Office is, of course, it ended up being like a remake of the British series with Rainn Wilson, which the British one is pretty good, but I still prefer the Steve Carell one. I mean, I don't really love The Office as most people do. Like, there's lots of people that call it the greatest show of all time. I'm not one of them. I don't think it's the best show of all time, but it's still really hilarious. It ran for pretty good season. I mean, it ran from 2005 all the way to 2011 or 2012, I believe. I can't remember when it fully ended. But anyway, The Office, it's a really fun sitcom. Great characters. Take place in the world of an office. I mean, if you guys have not really seen The Office by now, I'd say give it a shot. It's a pretty good one. All right, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10 Alice, 9 Ally McBeal, 8 Superstore, 7 Murphy Brown, 6 News Radio, 5 Scrubs, 4 The Mary Tyler Moore Show, 3 Taxi, 2 Cheers, and number 1 The Office. Now there's a few other ones I probably could have added. Steve Carell just had that show Space Force, which I was looking forward for that show, but sad to say, wasn't so good in my opinion. Oh, let me see. There's a few other mega shows that takes place. Like other shows that takes place in the medical force, like Good Doctor, ER is a good one. Other ones, Parks and Rec, which lots of people love Parks and Rec. I'm not one of the biggest Parks and Rec fans, but it was an okay show. Bob's Burger, which I'm not really too big with, to be honest. Mad Men, Just Shoot Me with David Spade, that's a good one. House. Workaholics is a pretty good one. There's some pretty solid ones out there. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite workplace TV shows of all time? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here, CMovie signing out.